it's been so much going on today, but if we still gonna run with the show, guys. I love it when the energy is right. I know when there's some type of interference that is greatness in the path. You know what I mean? I'm fired up and super excited because I know, when you know what you know, it's one of the greatest thing that you have. You understand? When you know what you know, it's one of the greatest things that you have. A lot of times when you find that adversity kicks in on you, don't be worried. Don't be mad. Don't get frustrated. It's human nature to do this, right? It's human nature to get mad and to get frustrated and just, I can't believe this is happening, right? But we have to embrace, and this is why that was so powerful what he was saying, and it leads into this short talk. I'm going to keep it short because the fact that we want to respect all of your time and still keep things accordingly, right? It is going to be on all the other social outlets that you can run back and catch a replay, but it's nothing like getting it in person. So I know I did say to type it in the chat where some of you are calling in from. It's extremely important to know where you guys are. I know we're on the Clubhouse and the different platforms, the Facebooks and the different things. And the key about when you're serving is that we go out with the intention to serve one. You have the concept of a multitude, but if one really gets it, you have done the job, right? And that is really important. It's extremely important for us to understand that, right? Now, check this out. Most of us had been dealing with a lot of late. And when you join this call, I always tell everybody, get your pen and your pads, because at the Leadership Summit, we have strategic conversation. But I'm going to just dive right in on the importance of why we're having this call. This means so much to me because of life itself. It means so much. There are times that God put you through or put things in our hearts, right? And those dreams, those aspirations, goals. And then he gives some of those things to us right away. He give it to us right away. And some of us, we get so used to when things are happening or we believe it's happening right away. Then there's other times that he might put something in our hearts, and it seemed to be the majority of the things that's happening when you find that they're just not happening on the time or as expedient as the way we saw it happening before. Because we got used to, man, when something is on my heart, I'm manifested, it just happens, right? So we get caught. They're like, boom, this thing just happened. So every time I desire something, it happens, right? That's how we feel. And we don't understand when God put it there and then in our hearts, but then he makes us wait. He makes us wait. I want you to think about that for a second. He makes us wait. See, one of the things is often we wonder, what is God doing? A lot of us, that's what we do. What is God doing? I know I had this idea. I know I put together this plan. I know that I know what I know. I've studied for this. So why don't I have the outcome that I seek, right? We got comfortable with things happening fast, that when we have to wait, a lot of us, we start feeling a certain way. If this has happened to you guys, go ahead and put some ones in the chat. If this has happened to you, put some ones in the chat. And then we're often wondering what God is doing. We begin to ask, did I really hear from God? Or whatever that is. Or perhaps the biggest question we can ask is, God, why is this taking so long? Let's be transparent, guys. God, why is this taking so long? Some of you, if you might be in a space where you're saying, okay, well, I don't believe. Well, then let's just walk in your line for a second and remove God and think about the fact that you say, man, why is this taking so long? You ask yourself, well, these things have done, hey. And see, what I found during those times of waiting, what I found out on those times of waiting is that he's preparing us for the promise, or you're being prepared for the promise. So let's talk that way, because I don't want, for some of you, you understand that the way I live my life in the spirit and the movement of the kingdomship. So even when I am speaking on any platform, I do not denounce kingdomship, no matter the teachings. So I want to be respectful to all those who might be listening in. And some of you might be saying, well, he's saying this, and I believe in that, and I believe in that. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know I'm not talking religion. We're not having a dialogue on religion. Okay? We're having a dialogue. And what we're talking about today, and I'll tell you about the topic in a second, because some of you, from hearing this, if you're documenting anything as of yet, then it should already kind of give you an inkling as to where I'm going right here. See, we ask that question, so why is it taking so long, right? And we found at times that while he have us waiting, or we're waiting, but see, we're waiting because there's a preparation for a promise. Preparation for a promise. So you might want to write it down. See, there's a preparation. You're being prepared for the promise, meaning those goals that you have written down, those goals that you have on your vision board, you're being prepared for the outcome of that goal. See, during the waiting, you're being taught things. During this waiting period, you're being taught things. And in this process, you're growing, you're birthing, is the birth of your character that's happening right now. The birth of your character is happening as you're being taught these things. You're being taught these things. The birth of your character is happening. And that's happening because during that preparation period, you got to have some faith. So you got to have some faith. You got to hold on to this belief, this desire, and this belief that you have. So what that desire and belief is faith, right? You got to believe in that this desire, you got to have some faith in this, in the preparation, because character is being built. And you got to understand that faith that you have to have is also our ability to do what we feel and what we're called to do. See, that faith that you're holding on to is that ability that's being built up, right? To do how or what you feel or what you've been called to do. What you've been called to do is simply whatever those goals, whatever that desire, whatever that feeling, whatever you have documented and said you are trying to achieve, that outcome, that desire is your starting point. So desire is the starting point of all achievement, right? So that is your starting point. But from desire to outcome, there's a process. And that's what today's topic is about, the process. That's the dialogue and the short talk we're having. There's a lot that can be talked on this, but I'm going to be very short today because, or cram in as much as I can because of time, right? It's the process. You should write it down. That is that process. So now you ask yourself, will you trust the process? Will you trust the process? Because there's so many different things in life that all of us have gone through. Some of us, if we're reading the good book, we see so many stories about process. But you yourself, think about your life. I want everyone to take 5 seconds and just quickly reflect on that process. Will you trust the process? The topic today is the process. Will you trust the process? Take 5 seconds and think about that. Think about some of the things that you have gone through. Think about what you might be going through right now. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about so many stories that we have heard in our lives. How things have happened and there was kingdomship, or and someone lost it, and there was a role for patience to be played. But guess what? They didn't trust the process. When you desire something, when you have birthed that thing, and you believe heavily in that which you desire, you start to move in a direction that is tunnel vision to the destination. See, some of us might not realize that when something was given to you in your heart and you feel passionate about it and you start moving, see, whether you want to rule out, neglect, don't want to call it, at that moment, you're chosen. You're chosen by God. You're chosen by a higher power. You're chosen to do what you have desired because you desired it. You believe in it. You have the goal and want to get to an outcome. But see, the thing is the process. The process is the thing. So somebody write this down. The process brings promise. The process brings promise. And I want to tell you guys, like I said, I'm just gonna kind of move through this a little because of time, but I'm super excited that you guys are joining, and I want to make sure that you guys are getting this. And in this leadership summit, we talk about different things. We're talking to people all over the world. We really want to make sure that we're serving to hit home with information that is needed. And all the letters and the different things, the testimonials that comes back in regards to our servitude, it just makes me feel even more elated to know that, well, wow, I need to continue to service. I need to continue to study. I need to continue to pour my love into educating myself to serve you all. So write it down. The process brings the promise. The process brings the promise. See, I want y'all to think about it. Let me give you guys a story of, let's talk about the good book, and let's talk about King David. Everyone knows about King David, right? Everyone knows about King David. We know that when the word came and a prophet, just give it to you guys in very simple terms, right? When a prophet went to anoint that which he was told is the anointed one to be king, he went to the home of the father of David and tried to anoint all the brothers who was brought before him, but yet the Spirit was saying, this is not the one. I need y'all to follow me right now. But the one that was supposed to be anointed wasn't in the midst, was out tending in the field, was out doing what he was chartered to do. Filthy, Rudy, but doing what he was chartered to do. Whatever his desire was, whatever he was set to be doing, he was doing that. And that was a job that was rough. He was dealing with his hands. He was getting scuffled up. He was muddy. He had to wrestle and tangle and tend to the animals. I want y'all to follow me real quick. I want y'all to follow me. See, he wasn't looking prissy and cute. He was rough and Rudy. What was happening is that he was being prepared. He was being prepared for the outcome. But he didn't know he was being prepared for the outcome. So though when that man of God came and said, well, it must be one of them, and the Spirit was saying, no, it's not. And then he said, there must be one more. Send for that one. But see, everyone in the presence, I want y'all to follow me. Everyone in the presence couldn't understand because they were big, they were stout, they were well put together. So The people on your journey, those that will come into play, that will know you well, will feel that when a blessing is coming to them or something great is coming, that they deserve it. Because they may overlook and say, that's not for her. That's not for him. But see, all along, while you're in the wilderness doing what you need to do, that your hands are being cut up and chipped and scuffled, and you're battling these different animals and tending to them and making sure they're good in the posture and different things like that. Guess what happened, ladies and gentlemen? You're being prepared, because the process brings the promise. If you're with me, type 7 in the chat. If you're with me, type 7 in the chat. If you're with me, type 7 in the chat. I don't want to lose anybody. I don't want anybody to say, well, oh my God, he's over here preaching. I need you to understand why this is so important in our lives for success. While this is important in our lives for family, why this is important in our lives to grow an organization, why this is important in our life to grow our village, our city, our nation, our careers. See, a lot of times we get caught because we think, well, this don't have anything to do with, oh, it has absolutely everything to do with it. Absolutely. This is very important, because if you cannot trust the process, then you cannot get to the promise. I said this is so dear to me because too many times, ladies and gentlemen, what happens is that we get caught up on just purpose. Ooh, I might be talking to somebody. See, too many times we get caught up on purpose. We get caught up on, well, I need to make sure that I get this done. I need to make sure that those bills are paid. I need to make sure that I align everything that I marked out. I need to make sure I get this house on this particular time. I need to make sure that I'm married by this age, or I need to make sure that the kids is like this. I need to see, we get caught up on what we believe or what we put in play as purpose. See, we get caught. Well, that is my purpose. My purpose is I gotta work. I gotta work. I gotta take care of my kids. I gotta make sure these bills are paid. Purpose. Come on, somebody. But see, when the things that comes quick slow up and is held back, woo, then we start questioning things. Because we so caught up on purpose, we don't see that there is a bigger picture that's called a promise. And in order for the promise to be achieved, there must be a process. There must be a process. Because see, without the process, then you can never be prepared to receive that which is yours. Oh, I'm hoping somebody hearing me today. I'm hoping somebody hearing me today. But see, here's what happens when we're not seeing what we need to see. Instead of us getting better, some of us get bitter. So write down, get better, not bitter. Get better, not bitter. See, instead of us get better, some of us, we get bitter. So write down, get better, not bitter. See, when they went and they said, okay, well, these are the anointed. You got to think about this. David was out in the field. How many times, sometimes you might be working along with others and your work ethic has you believe you're doing so well, but you weren't there when the boss, the manager, or someone showed up randomly and they were looking for you, even though they didn't know they were looking for you. Ooh. See, they came for this worker that's so astounding. They came to see who operates this department so well. And what happened is you, who had stepped away for lunch, when they came, the others who were doing a fair job felt like it was their right to get whatever blessing that manager was bringing, whatever position that manager was coming to talk about in regards to elevation. And they couldn't understand when he looked at everything, because he's been looking at it beforehand. When he came and he looked at everything and he didn't see anyone fit for where he wanted or the position that he was creating, because you happened to be away. And then he asked, I thought there were 10 people in this department. I'm only seeing 9. Where is the other individual? Ooh, I don't know if y'all with me right now. I don't know if y'all are with me right now. If you're with me, type with me. He's saying, I know there's 10 in this department. Where is the other individual? And you stepped away for lunch. Everyone is saying, well, sheesh. Wait a minute. He at lunch or she at lunch. You popped up randomly. You don't need him or her. We doing great job. We doing our thing. We've been here for 10 years, 5 years, 15 years. We got seniority over this individual. See, but because you were going through the preparation, your process brought out your promise. So you don't need to get bitter. You need to get better. That's what David did. He got better. He showed up and the anointing was his. He got better. See, all those time that he was tending, it was preparation. All the time that you're putting in right now, behind the desk, all the time you're putting in as a janitor sweeping them floors, all the time that you're putting in that OR, in that ER, wherever it is, all the time that you're putting in up late, wondering, wow, I'm busting my brains. It's been 5 years, nothing ain't happening, but you continue to toil. You continue to toil. You must understand that it is your preparation and the process is what will bring you to that promise. So you don't get bitter, you get better. You start honing in. You start sharpening up your skills. You start going harder, even though the outcome that you visualized didn't come yet. Because you got to understand that there's laws that's in place. There's laws of reciprocity. There's laws of sowing and reaping. There's laws that has been put in place in the universe that will give you what you desire, but it has to be a wholehearted desire. Just give you an example. Let me give you an example how important this is. It is just like the Chinese proverbs with the bamboo tree. It is just like when you plant the seed of that bamboo tree. What happens is that you have to water. You have to tend to the soil for 5 years, every day for 5 years. I'm hoping somebody is hearing me. You got to tend to the soil every day for 5 years. If you miss days and you don't do what you need to do, you destroy what was being birthed that didn't come out of the earth. So what happens is that you're tending to that bamboo tree every day, every day, every day for 5 years. And then on year 5, it sprouts up and grow to a whopping 90 feet tall. Ooh! In just about 6 weeks. Come on, somebody. It is so automatic. You're saying, how did that happen? Someone who came after, who showed up later, and they're seeing this, they're saying, ooh, that was quick, but they don't understand. That wasn't quick. That was the process. There had to be a process. Why? Because the roots of the bamboo tree, when you're watering, when you're sowing seed, when you're taking your time and tend to it, it is already growing. It is already sprouting, but it's going deeper and deeper downwards. Why? Because the foundation has to be strong. It has to hold on to the soil. It has to be so strong that when the time comes for it to break ground, ooh, for it to break ground, it happens so fast that that's where you now say, oh my God, this is a miracle. See, what you consider luck, or you say it's a miracle, it is just because you're not behind the scenes of the process. Come on, somebody. Type some 10s in the chat if you're feeling me right now. You're not behind the scene of the process. So you got to get better. You got to keep pushing. You got to sow the seed the way the seed needs to be sown. You got to water it the way it needs to be watered. You got to stay consistent. You got to stay fervent. You got to keep your eyes locked in the direction you need to be locked in. You got to say, it doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't matter how I'm feeling. It doesn't matter because I have a headache. It doesn't matter because right now everything is crushing down on me. It doesn't matter because my husband decide that he don't want to hear from me anymore. It doesn't matter that my girlfriend ain't picking up my call. It doesn't matter that the job is saying that, look, they feel that they don't need me anymore. You got to understand, whatever that's happening, it's just the preparation, the process to the outcome of the promise that was already given birth inside of you because of your belief and your desire. Come on, somebody, put some fire in the chat if you're with me. Put some fire in the chat if you're with me. You want to make sure that your journey become one that's anointed, not appointed. Come on. Anointed, not appointed. You want it to be anointed, not appointed, because anything that's appointed can be taken away. Anything that's appointed can be taken away. Because if I appoint you to something, I can say, well, you know what? In my mood, in how I feel, on whatever day the wind blows, whatever's going on, we want to remove you. But see, when you're anointed, see, when you're anointed because you've been moving in such a way that you're staying so focused. You're like a furnace. The desire is burning. You're staying on that one track. That anointedness is flowing on you. No one can take it away because it wasn't given to you by a person. The anointedness, it was given to you by the favor of a higher power. So a person cannot take it away because you're going to move in that direction. So I want y'all to write this down, guys. Preparation is key. Preparation is key. Preparation is key. Because see, after you figure out or find that direction and that desire, and you've birthed this and you started to move, you have to prepare on your movement. You got to be prepared. See, sometimes you may think that just watching something somebody else do and seeing what has been done in their life, you say, oh yeah, I can do that. You say, oh, I can do that. I can do it just like them. But no. See, because you weren't around, nor do you know what their preparation was like, how they prepared, what they had to endure. That is why, though the race and the outcome of getting to the finish line is the finish line, the journey, the process to the finish line is different for every runner. Have you guys ever watched the sports of track and field and see when they take off for the 100-yard? Everyone took off from the same starting point. Everyone is supposed to get to the finish line, but in between the starting point and the finish line, there's a race. From the starting point to the finish line, there is a race. And that race has to be handled by those who decide to run it. So the ones who decide to run that race, are they prepared to run that race? How have they been preparing? What have they been doing? Can they endure the distance? Do they have what it takes to be explosive? Can they be explosive in the beginning and still have extra to finish strong? Come on, somebody. I'm hoping y'all are with me. I'm hoping y'all are with me. So you see, preparation is key. You have to be prepared for the direction you're going. You have to say, well, I need to be a multi-millionaire. If that is what your goal is, guess what, guys? Then you got to be prepared for that. I want to be the best attorney I can be. Well, you have to prepare for that. I want to be the best manager of this company, this pharmaceutical company. You have to prepare for that. Your preparation will dictate the outcome that you seek. Because, see, that preparation is what's going to hold you when it gets rough. I'm hoping y'all are following me. The preparation will hold you when it gets rough, because you've prepared. When the storm comes, when the pothole comes, when the things are thrown at you, because you've been preparing, you will better be suited to handle what is coming. Now, will you get knocked down? Absolutely. But because you've been preparing, because you know what you know, then you know that you've desired this thing. You know that you've birthed something inside of you that's so powerful, and you've been preparing, and you're allowing the process to take place. You may have bumps and bruises and cuts when you get to the end. But when you get to the end, it will be your promise that you will be celebrating your victory. So you must understand that you can trust the process. Write it down. You must understand that you can trust the process. See, anytime God moves, God is always preparing you for an opportunity that will come at a time best suited for you. I'm hoping somebody got that. When he moves, he is preparing you for an opportunity that will come at a time best suited for you. So your concept of, I need it now. Hear a lot of people say this. Well, if I win the lottery, I'll do so much. I'm playing for that $500 million. When I win that, listen, I am good. I'm never broke again. I'll make sure all my family is good. I'll make sure I do this. I'll make sure I do that. I'll make sure I do this. Now you want to ask yourself, are you prepared to handle 500 million? See, a lot of us, well, I got this type of degree and I know how to do X, Y, Z. Well, I want you to look at your finances. I want you to look at your books. What's the highest you've ever had? And when you see where you've been, then you know that getting to that astronomical number that you're playing the lottery for, this is why statistic always shows that most who have won lose it within a 3 to 5 year span. And you and I on the sideline, if we don't understand the preparation phase, we say, how can you do that? How can you lose that? Why would you lose that much money? Well, it's that easy. Because preparation is what brings out and lead you to your purpose. Preparation leads to purpose. In the middle of it is process. You've never gone through anything. You've never carried that kind of capital before. You've never housed that type of money before. You have no idea mentally what it takes to deal with that type of money. So absolutely it will be lost. Not because you're some person that is stupid or you. No, it is because you lack the preparation, the knowledge, the fortitude, what it takes to be able to get that, multiply it, grow it, and keep it. Are y'all with me? If you're with me, type with me. So I want you to understand that you can trust the process. That you can trust the process. This is extremely important, ladies and gentlemen. See, there is no shortcut in the process. There is no shortcut in the process. See, if you shortcut the process, somebody should write this down. If you shortcut the process, you short circuit the product. Woo-hoo! Come on, somebody. If you shortcut the process, you short circuit the product. See, a lot of us, what do you mean? If I can get it this quick, let me get it that quick. See, when you're talking about using David as I was using as becoming king, he had to prepare. He had to prepare. If he had never mastered playing the lyre, if David had never mastered knowing how to play the music, if he would never have been chosen by the king, the reigning king, which was Saul. I'm giving you that example so you guys will understand this in your business life, this in the life of dealing with people. See, if he hadn't been prepared or wasn't preparing, then he wouldn't master playing the lyre. So guess what? He was able to play it, the instrument, to soothe the eardrum, right? To soothe the mind of the king, gain favor in the heart of the king. So now you're moving from being in the wilderness because you've been going through the preparation and you've mastered the skill. Guess what happened? Now favor came on you because someone said, I'm looking for somebody to take my company to another level. I'm looking for this young lady who has the talent of merger and acquisition. I'm looking for this young man who knows how to negotiate contracts. I'm looking for this young woman who knows how to lead and take a team where they need to go. I'm looking for someone who can run with my vision of my organization so that we can win together, because you've been preparing, because you went through the process. You've been beaten. You've been bruised, turned upside down, but stay steadfast, stay tunnel vision, mastered, mastered the process. Because see, when you're getting the bumps and the bruises and the storm is around you, but you're saying, guess what? The rocks are flying to the side. This storm is picking up houses, bicycles, cars, throwing them everywhere. But if I stand right here in this storm, I might as well call it doomsday. But if I keep pushing, and this storm took off a piece of my skin. This storm has broken my leg, but I keep pushing. This storm has broken or fractured my arm, but I keep pushing because I have the will, I have the desire, I have the fortitude, and I'm gonna keep pushing and keep pushing. For those who ran and seek shelter by the rock or by the cave, I said, no, I'm gonna keep pushing because the storm ain't letting up. I'm gonna keep pushing. So what is it teaching you? See, there is a process that's happening, a process of mental stability, mindset, a process of emotional intelligence, not to be thinking that you're bigger than what it is, but you're humbling yourself to the process, to the journey, because you know that something bigger than you is happening, that is taking place, and you're humbling yourself to be a student in the journey. So this is the process, this is the preparation, this is the pressure. So when you look at what happens when we find a diamond, because see, when you come out, when you keep pushing and persevering, and you look behind finally, because you looked up and you saw light. When you look behind the storm, it's dark back there, because now you walked into light. But though you walked into light, you're beaten and you're bruised and you're damaged. When we find diamonds, ladies and gentlemen, they don't come out the way you ladies wear them on your ear and on your finger. They're bruised and battered and rough. And then it takes someone to cuddle it and to clean it and to shine it. It's the same way you will come out from that process. And then someone will now say, here is a robe. Someone will say, hey, come, let me take care of you. Make sure that arm is fixed. Someone will say, listen, here is a shower so that you can clean up yourself. Here is some new clothes. Here is hair products to wash your hair, comb your hair. Here is the things that's needed. So by the time you have now refreshed yourself and you step out, the process, ladies and gentlemen, the process that has beaten you, you have lost it all. Things came crushing down on you. Man, the bills got backed up. Oh my gosh, I thought we were doing phenomenal in life. And now, guess what? We're losing everything, sweetheart. We're losing everything, homie. We're losing it. Now, guess what? Some of us, we start pointing fingers in that process. Some of us, we start saying, it's because of you. Oh my God, you're a liability. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm dealing with you. Oh my gosh, because of you, this is all happening. And we start blame and the blame game and the blame game. So guess what we're doing? We're tearing each other down in the storm instead of understanding that, guess what? What did I say in the beginning, ladies and gentlemen? What did I say in the beginning? I said to you guys that you have to trust the process, because sometimes we get the things of our heart desire real quick. And then the moment the things we seek don't happen fast and we have to wait, we start questioning. We start getting bitter. That's what I said. That's what I said, ladies and gentlemen. You start saying, if I didn't have all these kids, I would have been able to just move around like that because I got all these kids and now I lost this job or this happened. Ladies and gentlemen, there will always be mismanagement of funds. There will always be anger towards, well, you know, I just have these kids and now I need to make this move. There will always be anger towards your situation. But the most important thing is that we can't let it get us bitter, because that's darkness. We got to get better, because that's light. So when you push through that storm and you're battered and bruised, it's okay. It's okay that whatever that was in that storm with you, if fingers start getting pointed, if the team members don't want to deal with you, if the co-workers think that you're so terrible, but you continue to have your eyes locked on the prize and you continue to have a clean heart and push and move, understand that life moves as a wave cycle. This is why when you talk about the good book, that's why he talked about the valley. Ladies and gentlemen, you know this, whether you believe in the text of the good book or not. You know, when you go to a hospital, we got nurses on these calls. You know that EKG machine goes up and down because we know if it does this, come on, somebody, y'all know what that is called. If it's just doing this, we know what it's called. You don't have to believe. You don't have to say, well, I believe in God. You must know that life goes up and down. It's called ebbs and flows. And he prepares us for the valley so that when we climb to the top, we're climbing with a preparedness. So opportunity comes when the prepared mind is ready. So when you have gone through the preparation, that process that you go through, create a diamond on the other end. And here's the thing, for those who do not know what a diamond really looks like, they will run past you. Because remember, the diamond comes out really rough, doesn't come out shiny. So when they run past you, be grateful, because guess why? They weren't supposed to be with you in the first place. But the ones, or the one who blows up because they were attracted by the force bigger than themselves, because the process provided the promise. Ladies and gentlemen, that tells you that how you were chosen, those individual or that individual was chosen to move on that journey as you climb the ladder, whether it be in your business, start a new business, whether it be you want to sit on a higher chair in your organization, Whether it be you want to elevate as a nurse to a nurse practitioner, whether you want to elevate from an attorney to a partner, whether you want to just say, I want to grow an organization and serve. Ladies and gentlemen, please understand there will and always be a process. So I want you guys, as you go through the rest of this week, I want you guys to go through this week understanding that the process is the process, and the process brings the promise. When you move into this week, remember that the process is the process, and the process brings the promise. Without the process, there will be no promise. So go into this week with energy of light, energy of servitude, energy of greatness. Whatever you touch will turn into the greatness that you seek, because you understand the process. You understand preparation. So whatever you desire, start putting those action in place now. Put it out, leash it out before you step out of your home tonight, before you step out of your home tomorrow. Leash out what you expect to come into your atmosphere, because your belief and your desire is the starting point for achieving greatness. So understand, because you've been prepared, because you're going through the preparation, your outcome will be a promise that's bigger than you can even fathom. So ladies and gentlemen, I really thank you guys. I thank you guys for jumping on with us tonight. I thank you guys for spending this short time with me. I will do a part 2 segment so that we can dive in even deeper into this, but understanding how important the process is. I'm on that journey, ladies and gentlemen, because we go through the process every time there is a new level. So for those who've been thinking, man, I'm good now, why is this happening? It is because every level have another process that you must go through. You cannot get to that level without going through that process. And I'm in that process right now. And I'm so grateful for the process. I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for the studies. I'm grateful for the information that I continue to take in, because it allows me to stay grounded, to serve. The wind is blowing, ladies and gentlemen. The storm is heavy. You know what? I know whose I am. So I'm standing in it, because I continue to educate myself so that I can stay fervent as I'm getting the hits, as I'm getting the bruises, as I'm getting the bumps. I know that the level that I'm being taken to requires this. So I need somebody out here to understand that whatever is going on right now in your organization, in the slow up of your business productivity, in your practice, understand there is a higher level that you are headed to, and you must go through this. You will go through this, because if you do not, there will be stagnancy. And one of the worst things can happen to a person is to be stagnant. That is where we continue to spin our wheels, go around in circle, doing the same thing, getting the same results. You know what that is called. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Let's take this week by force. Let's take this week by storm. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Thank you again for tuning in. And you guys have a phenomenal, phenomenal week. Do tune in to us every Mondays at 6:30 p.m. EST time. You guys can always go on the Leadership Podcast. You can find it on iTunes. You can search it on the web, and you can get any one of the trainings and the podcast of the Mr. Boston Leadership Summit. I love you guys so much. Be blessed. Stay safe.